Okay, how you doing? Mike here at the Royal Jam Studios with part 3 of how if you play guitar you can pretty much play anything with a string. You know, in my first video I showed you a bunch of instruments, and in my second video I showed you how they were tuned. And my buddy Kevin here from Bozeman, Montana wants to know, where's the banjo? How come you didn't show us your banjo? And the fact is, I have a banjo, but I keep it under lock and key in case it ever gets out. First off, if you want to know how to tune a banjo, the best way to do that is to get a pair of wire cutters. Banjos, heroin, and loose women are the 3 deadly gateways, you know, to eternal damnation. And the only difference is heroin and loose women you can get rid of. That said, today we're going to focus on fretless instruments. Okay, so if you look at a string from a bridge to the nut, let's say, and you pick that string open, you're picking what's called a fundamental frequency, and that's the entire string vibrating pretty much the way you see it here. Your frets aren't just any old wear. Your frets are in ratios of your fundamental string length. Halfway between the bridge and the nut is the midpoint. That's a nodal point where if you touch the string there, you'll get a harmonic. And that's the octave of the fundamental. So if the whole string is tuned to an E, and then you stop it at the midpoint, what you end up with is an E an octave higher. Right in the center of the string is where your 12th fret would be. And all that means is, if you take a string from the bridge to the nut and you divide it exactly in half, you're going to get the octave of whatever that string is tuned to. Now, I know musicians tend to fall into 2 categories. Some of us are very tech-oriented, and some of us become banjo players. Banjo's better than an Uzi. An Uzi only repeats 40 times. So, the first thing you think about then, when you're dealing with fretless, is the overall length, the fundamental length of the string, where the halfway point is. That'll tell you where the octave is, and that means all 12 notes are going to be in the first half of the string. If we look at the nodal points at 1/3 and 2/3, and so what you're going to get is a resulting note that is a 5th above the fundamental. So 2/3 of the string would be the location of the 7th fret. And in fact, if you divide the string into thirds, you'll get the 5 note of whatever your string is tuned to. So if your string is E, E, F, G, A, B. There's a B. Playing a banjo is like throwing a javelin blindfolded. You don't have to be any good to get people's attention. Now here we've divided the string into 4 sections. We can disregard the midpoint because we already said that nodal point gives us the octave. But if you look at 1/4 of the length of the string and 3/4 of the length of the string, hitting a nodal point there will divide the string into 4 vibrational sections. 3/4 of the length of the string, and remember our bridge here is on the right and the nut is on the left. 3/4 of the way down the string roughly be equivalent to the 5th fret. And the 5th fret gives you the 4th of the fundamental. So again, if our string is tuned to E, the midpoint gives us an octave of E. 1/3 corresponds to the 7th fret, and that would give us a B. And breaking the string into 4 vibrational sections, that 3/4 length will give us a fair approximation of an A at the 5th fret. And we could do this into 5 sections and 6 sections and 7 sections, although once you get up to 7 sections, you'll notice that the amplitude has decreased every time we've increased the number of vibrational sections, and so the notes get quieter and quieter until by the time you're at 7 divisions of the string, the note is very ugly, very out of tune, and you can't hear it anyway. If you'd go into a quarter, roughly a quarter of the string length, you're going to get the 4, E, F, G, A. So E, A, B, and then the octave E. And of course that works up here too. There's A and B. Playing banjo can be frustrating. One fella threw his banjo off the Empire State Building. It's the most applause he ever got. Now, if you have a fretless bass, it more than likely has marks either on the side of the neck or right here on the face of the neck. And those dots have been shifted front a little bit of where they would be on a fretted instrument, so that when you put your finger where you would sort of just pass the dot or right on the dot, that is where the note is. So the marks there become way more important. The marks are there either on the side or on the face. You know, you never ask a banjo player to change a light bulb. First they'll complain that it's electric. Then they'll lament about how they miss the old one. They'll tell you that ain't how Earl would have done it. And then when you do it yourself, they're going to ask you what tuning you're using. So as a guitar player, you kind of have your 1, 4, 5 octave laid out for you visually already. And you can do that on any length string, so it doesn't matter whether you're talking about a fretless bass or a violin. I'm kidding. You can make money playing banjo. You know, you practice a long time, people will pay you to play. But long before that, your neighbors will pay you to stop. Hey, you know how you keep a banjo player in suspense?